I think it's what the question, I certainly, even probably 4 or 5 years ago, was the same question keep being asked about those two guys. Like, can they play these 5 games, or these 4 games, or these back-to-back Ashes series as it was in 13, or probably why they got into there. But you know what I mean? Like, there's always that question before, and it always amazes me how many times I'm touching wood now that they managed to get through it. I think it's a testament to their fitness and their ability to soak up the demands of international cricket as a bowler. I mean, you do never know, do you? You just hope they can do. It's obviously a big test for them, but you know, just because Jimmy's 36 today, he won't thank me for mentioning that, but I still find it amazing that those guys can do what they've done after bowling so many times for England. So hopefully they can. If they don't, it's an opportunity for someone else to step up. Yeah, you're talking about the Dill selection. Then there's a guy there who's what county cricket's produced a really good English bowler. He's earned his right through selection of 170 wickets in the last three years. It might be a few more than that. He challenges the top order players to play a lot of balls, nipping it around with the new Duke's ball. He's an absolute trier. Always runs in all day for Essex, and yeah, he's fitted in pretty well. I think he might have won Crazy Golf yesterday, so I'm sure he cheated at that. And but yeah, he's I really I have a lot of admiration for him, because if you first saw him a few years ago, you would never have said he would have been in the situation he is at the moment, and it's only down to the way he's worked and his kind of unwavering belief that he can he can get good players out with good balls and constantly do it. And I'm really chuffed for him, and if he gets his chance this week or next week or whatever, he'll be I'll be watching it. Hopefully I'm playing, but be very proud of seeing a guy at 22 coming on the staff, which is quite late in one sense, 21, 22 to now. I think he's 25, 26, and like Essex's strike bowler, he's the guy that everyone turns to over such a short space of time. That's just down to his real hard work and actually kind of a lot of skill, which people don't really talk about as well. Put me on the spot there, I have to think. Best test match. This could go on a while, thinking under pressure now. My favourite test match, probably in Sydney when we won abroad. I think winning the Ashes test match, obviously probably wasn't the most exciting test match, but the sense of the feeling we got at the end of that tour was incredible. And probably as a fan, one of the 2005 games, probably the one here, probably getting called down the leg side with 2 runs needed, I think was obviously a great test match. It is interesting, obviously. I think it's because it's so unusual, because of the history of obviously Dill saying he's not playing red ball cricket. But over the last couple of months, there's been some exceptional circumstances with the guys who have been next in line. Obviously with Jack and Dom, Jack's obviously had his a couple of injuries at the wrong time, and hasn't bowled a huge amount over the last 2 or 3 months. I played with him in the Lions game, and he was probably a little bit short of match practice and that rhythm which you need as a bowler. So and probably, I know Dom hasn't been injured, but the amount of cricket he's played as a very young spinner right at the beginning of his career, in one sense the selectors didn't have too many options really in that sense. And the way Dill's been playing and bowling for the one-dayers, it seemed quite an obvious selection. He has been bowling brilliantly, I know, in a different format. So in one sense I feel a little bit sorry for Dill, like all this stuff, kind of the political side of his selection, rather than looking at him himself, who's gone away and worked really hard on his one-day skills and has bowling brilliantly in the last 2 series. He's been selected to play for England, which is a huge honour, and all this other stuff's kind of overtaken it. For me, I suppose it's just because it's unusual. It's never really happened this way before. I don't think it'll happen very many times again. Obviously, Ed said you need to be playing red ball cricket, and I think that's right. But sometimes exceptional circumstances mean selection goes a different way than you would like, and obviously Ed and selectors have made a brave call. And I think naturally you do. I think you always, every time you select anyone, you understand there's going to be can be some implications to certain selections. I said this is, I believe, a bit of an unusual circumstance. So, these circumstances won't come off that often again. So, I can understand why it's caused a bit of fuss, but I think we'll just get on. You just have to get on with it. And I think we've got to look at the positives of it. We've got a different style of English spinner with a little bit of mystery to him, who's bowling really well, and that should be what we should be excited about. Not really what's happening with the off-field stuff and the Yorkshire stuff and all that. We should be concentrating on the positives rather than so-called negatives. And as I keep repeating, I think it's just because of the circumstances we are in. Well, I'll answer that question maybe at the end of the series, but they seem to. They've got a good variety of certainly bowlers and pace bowlers, which is probably unusual, and strength in depth in their pace bowling, which over the last couple of years, certainly the last 10 years since I've played against them, they haven't had the option of playing 5 or 6 different types of seamers. I think that strength in depth in their seamers is different to what I've experienced in the past, but we will see over the next 6 weeks. I hope it's the same way. Then in 6 weeks we'd have beaten the #1 side in the world. I don't know. I mean, obviously we're a side who have been inconsistent, and to win a 5-match series you need to be consistently good in 3 games. I think a fair bit, just with to become #1 side in the world. Obviously it takes 2 or 3 years of really good results, and we haven't had that over the last couple of years. So, and obviously the team has been changing as we're finding out different things about different players and different combinations. And you go back to that side in 2011, it's probably that was the end of, I'm trying to work out the actual dates, but 2 or 3 years under Strauss and Flower playing really good cricket with the same 14, 15 players. I think that's. Your memory, some history kind of and time kind of might actually change what actually happened, but I think it was say 15, 16 players who played, and everyone produced the goods over a period of time. So I think we're a little bit way off that, and that's the challenge for this team. I think you've got to be a pretty good judge of what to play and what not to play. You need to put the bat ball away. How many more cliches can I come up with? Need a bit of luck along the way. As you say, it's a real challenging place to bat. I think we've seen that over the last few years, certainly in English conditions with the Duke's ball. I suppose the one thing probably I'll look back on when I do stop will be how proud I was of my longevity by being an opener at the top of the order against the new ball, against the fresh bowlers. But if you get past that, you've got a great platform. As Gucci always said to me, if you get past the new ball, you're in on 30 and 40, and the bowlers are, you've got your eye, and as the bowlers are getting tired, and you can really, set up games of cricket. Well, everyone just asked me when I'm going to retire now, so it's like that's what I'm glad no one has in this press conference. That's what the next question always is. Well, I thought I'd get it in before you. It's just different now. I thoroughly, and the English guys will hear this, I thoroughly enjoyed my time as England captain. It is a very challenging job. It's a hard job, but it's also a very rewarding job. You get tested in ways you never thought you'd get tested. You get making decisions every day about things which, before the day starts, you don't know what you're going to be making those decisions on, and you're captaining your country, which is the biggest honour in the sport you play. So, I absolutely loved it. I believe it was the right time for me personally. I think if you were doing an ideal world, you would have. I'm sure the hierarchy would like me to have gone on to captain in Australia. I think that was if you could have written it perfectly, but I didn't feel as if I could give. I wasn't in the right mental state to do that, and it wasn't fair for the team, for a captain to be there. So it was the right decision for me. And as that has happened, my kind of you involve as a player as things on. I'm now the senior batter. I don't have to worry about team meetings, what's been said, how we looking at the opposition, all that kind of stuff. I can just concentrate on the batting, and obviously that still got pressure, but it's just different things. So I've enjoyed this second part of it.